There is a massive warning regarding silver valuations developing right now, and if you are currently holding physical gold or silver, this is information you need to process immediately. Francis Hunt has just revealed a set of data that is genuinely startling. The historical correlation between gold and silver pricing is on the verge of a total breakdown, potentially collapsing into single-digit territory. When this structural shift occurs, we aren't just looking at silver hitting $300 or $500. Hunt is actually forecasting prices that reach 4 digits. We could be looking at $500 or perhaps as high as $2,000 when measured in what he calls traditional monetary terms. However, there is a specific detail in this data that should cause genuine concern for every investor. Roughly 60% to 70% of the global silver supply is actually a byproduct of mining for other industrial metals. Furthermore, the advent of next-generation solid-state batteries has the potential to absorb 100% of current silver mining output. This would leave absolutely no silver available for the manufacturing of solar panels, consumer electronics, or for private retail investors like us. This supply-side crunch is not a future theory. It has already begun, yet the vast majority of silver enthusiasts have no idea that this tectonic shift is imminent. Before we dive further into the specifics of Francis Hunt's high-alert silver analysis, I have a quick request for the audience. If you are over the age of 50 and have spent decades working hard to build and protect your nest egg, this channel was created specifically with your needs in mind. Please take a brief moment to click the subscribe button below, as the upcoming economic volatility will not wait for anyone to get organized, and I want to ensure you are fully prepared. Additionally, I would love for you to drop a comment below and let me know your location, whether you're tuning in from Texas, Florida, California, or anywhere else across the globe. I make it a point to read every single submission because I value your presence in this community. Now, let's examine the specifics of what Francis Hunt has identified in the silver markets, and why he believes we are standing on the precipice of the most significant wealth transfer in the history of precious metals. When Hunt analyzes his technical charts, the data he sees is enough to cause serious alarm. He points specifically to the gold to silver ratio, which is the vital metric indicating how many ounces of silver are required to buy a single ounce of gold. According to his analysis, this ratio is entering a contagion phase, a concept that most casual investors fail to grasp. For many decades, this specific ratio has been manipulated and kept artificially high, which has made silver look extremely cheap compared to its yellow counterpart. Hunt believes this long-standing market distortion is about to correct itself in a very aggressive, violent manner. Looking at his technical indicators, the ratio recently peaked at a staggering 126, but the tide has turned. It has since fallen below the pivotal 65 mark. This wasn't a minor dip. It triggered a massive macro-level reversal known as a head and shoulders pattern, a structure Hunt has been tracking for years. He notes in a very measured tone that when price structures rise, they eventually revert, and that is exactly what we are witnessing. Based on the technical framework alone, the ratio could plummet to 32, but Hunt's ultimate projection is even more extreme. He expects the ratio to hit single digits. Now, while most mainstream analysts would call that impossible, consider the math. If gold is priced at $3,000 and the ratio hits 9, silver would be worth over $330 per ounce. Yet, Hunt's vision goes even further. He sees something much larger and more dangerous developing on the horizon, which offers incredible profit potential for those who are positioned correctly. He points out that during the blow-off top of a bull market, prices don't just stop at logical targets, they overshoot exponentially. This isn't mere hype. It is a conclusion based on rigorous historical study. Hunt has scrutinized every major silver bull cycle in history and knows exactly how they conclude. They don't end quietly. They end in parabolic vertical moves that defy all rational logic and expert expectations. These moves create life-changing wealth, but only for the investors who have the intestinal fortitude to stay in the trade. This is precisely where most people fail. They make a catastrophic mistake by selling their positions way too early. Hunt discusses a concept he calls the law of the parabola, a mathematical certainty that the majority of traders ignore. If you look at an exponential growth chart, it proves that the lion's share of your total profit is generated in the final 5% to 10% of the entire market cycle. He emphasizes that the very last 5% of the move will likely account for half of your total lifetime gains. Let that sink in for a moment. 50% of your profit comes in the final few weeks or even days of the rally. Hunt warns that the average investor will see silver hit $100 or $200, feel a sense of panic or mission accomplished, and sell their holdings. They will lock in decent gains only to watch in disbelief as silver screams past $500 or $800 without them. He is trying to brace investors for a reality that will be unlike anything they have ever seen. At that level of market mania, Hunt admits that he isn't even sure what the US dollar will represent anymore. He questions what currency will even be in circulation, whether it's the current dollar, a central bank digital currency, or something else entirely. This isn't just about a higher silver price. It's about the potential disintegration of our current monetary system. In that environment, silver, the most suppressed and forgotten asset, becomes the most coveted substance on Earth. The technical breakdown of the gold to silver ratio is just the opening act. The contagion stage is where the speed of the move increases, technical signals align, and prices move much faster than anyone thinks is possible. Hunt has seen this setup before, specifically in the 1970s and again in 2011, but he believes this iteration will dwarf those previous cycles. When the ratio slipped below 65, the starting gun was fired. Most investors are still at the starting line, wondering if they should get involved, while Hunt and his followers are already miles ahead. The real question isn't whether silver will go up, but rather how high it will soar before the cycle concludes. A question that plagues every investor is it too late to buy? Hunt hears this constantly, and his answer is often a surprise. He asks a very simple question in return. If an asset is clearly moving toward $200, does paying $82 seem like an overpayment? This logic makes the math undeniable. People fret over paying $80 or $100 for silver because they think that a big move already happened. Hunt sees it differently. He isn't looking at today's spot price, he's looking at the reality of tomorrow's scarcity. In that future, today, his prices are a gift that most will reject because they are waiting for a dip that never comes. He also addresses the entry point dilemma that keeps people up at night. On a monthly chart, silver might look vertical, with no obvious place to jump in. However, Hunt uses a multi-time frame strategy developed over decades. By zooming in from the macro monthly charts to the daily or hourly charts, you can find micro pullbacks within the larger surge. He even shows his own trading platform, using real capital, not a demo, to show how he manages his money. While others were saying the market had peaked, Hunt was finding entry points on the daily time frame where silver dipped momentarily. He uses a system called the HVF method to place stop losses at relative lows, ensuring that even in a bull market, his risk is controlled. By using this professional approach, he has secured profit locks and is sitting on gains of 150% and 305% on various positions. This isn't luck. It's a disciplined strategy that views volatility as an opportunity rather than a threat. Every time silver drops $5 or $10, it is an invitation for the informed investor to get on board. While amateurs look at a rise from $30 to $80 and think they missed the boat, professionals are looking at the 4-hour charts to find the perfect spot to add more. Hunt then reveals a quarterly chart of silver going back to the 1950s, 75 years of data. He points out a squeeze within a squeeze, a massive coil of energy that has been building for decades. He describes these technical setups as gifts from the market. His philosophy is that the market wants to provide for you if you know how to read it. He uses a poetic analogy. We are like blind creatures walking over piles of diamonds and pearls. All we have to do is open our eyes and reach down. This squeeze started at $25, and while it has a target of $333, that is merely a pit stop. He plans to take 50% of his profits there to remove emotional stress, while letting the rest ride to the ultimate top. The difference between a novice and a pro is their perspective on price. The novice asks if it's too late. The pro asks where the next entry is. Hunt is clear. The move is underway, but it is far from finished. He then pivots to a supply-side secret that almost everyone has missed. He looks back at the gold to silver ratio since the 1960s and notes how financialized the world has become. Silver has been suppressed because there was supposedly plenty of above-ground inventory in vaults. However, Hunt warns that if you don't have physical possession of your metal within your own borders, you don't truly own it. Much of that reported inventory is likely an illusion. The most terrifying part of his analysis involves production. Since 70% of silver is a byproduct of mining for copper, zinc, or lead, the supply is inelastic. This means even if silver goes to $200, a copper mine won't produce more silver unless they also need more copper. This creates a supply wall that cannot be climbed. Combine this with the iPad car revolution, where everything is becoming a rechargeable device, and the demand becomes astronomical. Solid-state batteries alone could require 100% of global silver production. If that happens, there's no silver left for the Green New Deal, no silver for iPhones, and no silver for missiles or medical tech. We are entering a phase where the only way to balance the market is through price. Silver has been too cheap for too long because it was too expensive to mine relative to its market value. Now, the market is going to correct that multi-decade error all at once. This isn't a normal cycle. It's a historic shortage. Hunt is preparing his followers for the exit strategy, which he bases entirely on the ratio. He will wait for that single-digit ratio to signal the end of the line. As silver climbs toward $400 or $500, the psychological pressure to sell will be immense. The media will scream bubble, and everyone you know will tell you to get out. Hunt's advice is to stay the course. Use a partial close of 50% to pay yourself, but keep a core position for the 4-digit finale. He emphasizes that at those prices, the dollar itself might be a memory. We are looking at $1,000 to $2,000 silver in traditional terms. This isn't just a trade, it's a hedge against a failing system. The 75-year quarterly chart shows a spring that is finally uncoiling. The breakout is real, the momentum is real, and the contagion is here. It is both a time of great excitement and a time for caution. If you sell too early, you will miss the move that defines your financial life. History shows that the end of a silver rally is a vertical spike and a violent reversal. But we are nowhere near that point yet. We are in a multi-year trend that will change the face of the financial world. Hunt's final message is simple. The market is offering you a gift. The pullbacks are chances to build wealth while others are blinded by fear. He has given you the technical data, the supply-demand reality, and the trading roadmap. Now, you have to decide. Will you have the bravery to buy when it feels expensive? Will you have the patience to hold through the swings? Or will you be the person 2 years from now saying, I knew I should have bought more? The clock is ticking and the silver train is leaving the station. You are either on the train or you are watching your future wealth disappear into the distance. What do you think about Francis Hunt's perspective? Are you loading up on more silver, holding what you have, or waiting for more clarity? Please leave a comment below. I really want to see your thoughts. If this breakdown was helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. We are just entering the eye of the storm, and I will be here to help you navigate it every step of the way. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay positioned. I'll see you in the next video.